he had messaged me when I was in Wilmington saying, hey, we should meet up, go on a date. You know, I'm in Greensboro, North Carolina, you're in Wilmington, North Carolina, maybe we can meet up. Y'all, that's 3 hours away, or maybe even more. I was like, that's a little bit too far. That's not gonna happen. Hello, everyone. I'm so grateful for all of you. Whether this is your first time watching or your second, or in some people's case, maybe your third or fourth if you wanted to rewind and watch my previous video. Thank you so much for tuning in. And I need you to do something for me. You may have watched me, that's task number 1, but I want you to also do something else. If you could subscribe to my channel, which is really simple, just find that subscribe text, click it, and now you're subscribed. That means you can see more of my content whenever you tune into YouTube. And also, if you could like this video, there's a thumbs up at the bottom of this video. Press that thumbs up so that I can be in the forefront of other people's YouTube timelines. Please help me out. Now, as I continue to grow on this journey, I'm going to be talking about some more topics that are related to me and the things that a lot of people may have questions about my life on. And one of those big topics is wedding day. Now, my name has changed, so people have been quite confused because the formal wedding, the white dress, the aisle, just hasn't happened yet. You may have, if you were following me back in June, you first started seeing pictures of me and my husband. If you followed me, you saw this beautiful picture of us out in New York City. That might have been the first time you saw us together. And then several weeks later, you may have spotted us getting engaged with this video. And then after you saw this video, several months later, you may have saw me wearing a white dress and being all dressed up alongside my husband, taking beautiful pictures, thinking, is this their wedding? This is happening so quickly. It wasn't. It was our engagement party. Thank you for all of the compliments. But then after that, following this timeline, several months later, you then saw that I had a wedding at a courthouse. We were legally married. We weren't in white, but we were legally married wearing green, which was very important to us to really showcase the growth and the rebirth that we are now going into. And then after that, you saw some pictures, I think they were fire, some fire pictures of us in Brooklyn saying, these are our wedding photos, inviting people for our wedding day. But we're already married, the name change, why is this all happening like this? So I wanted to answer your question, why did I get married before my wedding? Well, I think there's 3 main reasons that I'm going to explain as to why I did it like this, or not I, it's we at this point. It's always going to be us because we're one flesh. So with it being us, these are the main 3 reasons why I got married before my wedding. Number 1, in my eyes, it's pretty simple. I found a great man. When you find something great, no matter what it is, whether it's a partner or just anything out in this world that is great, you don't lose it. It's like a diamond. Why would you lose something that's worth so much? And so for me, when I met my husband, I was like, this man is amazing. And I don't want to waste this opportunity and go out and think to myself that there's someone else like this, because I know what I've found is a gem. So to give you a background about our relationship from my perspective, maybe in a future episode, I'll bring him on and allow for him to share his own, if that's what you guys want. But from my perspective, I met my husband when I first moved to Greensboro, North Carolina. So we both attended the University of Maryland, College Park. So I want to debunk any thoughts or ideas that we met in college. We knew of each other just being in the Black community, being very small at a predominantly white institution. We knew of all the Black people that attended the school, but we did not know each other on a name-to-name basis where we could have a conversation. That wasn't us. But when I went to Greensboro, North Carolina, he was in law school at the time. We had connected on social media. And so when I was in Greensboro, Well, okay, let me give you the real tea. This is the real tea of the story. So my first job was actually in Wilmington, North Carolina. As I said, we were already connected on social media. So Drew and I were followers on Instagram, and so there were times I would comment on his story. He had posted one time a picture of his brother and I went back and backtracked this. So he had posted a picture of his brother and him, not brother and I, brother and him. And so I commented on it and I said, "Y'all look smack alike." That was the very first words that I said to my future husband. "Y'all look smack alike." I said it. I know, craziest thing, that's what I said. And then after that, our conversations kind of died off. Then, he would comment on my story, congratulating me on some accomplishments, that type of thing. It was very just hearsay, she said, on and off for a couple of months. Then eventually, he had messaged me when I was in Wilmington saying, "Hey, we should meet up, go on a date. I'm in Greensboro, North Carolina. You're in Wilmington, North Carolina. Maybe we can meet up." Y'all, that's 3 hours away, or maybe even more. I was like, that's a little bit too far. That's not going to happen right now. Maybe sometime in the future we eventually maybe see each other. I just kind of tossed it off, not thinking anything of it. So I left that job, ended up moving back home because of COVID. That story for another day. Moved back home, and then I came back to North Carolina because I got my job in Greensboro, and at the same time he was in law school in Greensboro. And so he said, "Can I get that date?" And so we finally went on our first date, and that date was amazing. There's certain things about that date that just screamed soulmate to me. When we went on our first date, I came late, just me being me, came late. And when I sat down, we were both ready to eat our food, and he said, "Let's pray." And just him starting out with that of "let's pray," it literally threw me off, because many times when I would go on dates or I would go out with people, especially our age, that's not something that I would expect for someone to want to pray to start the date. And so for me, I was like, "Oh, okay, let's pray." I was grateful for it, but it definitely threw me off in a great way. And so from then the conversation was flowing. And the reason why I bring up the University of Maryland, because we would talk about our memories and experiences and things like that, and we were sharing each other's journey, and we knew a lot of the same people, but we had completely different perspectives. There were times we would describe parties we were at or events we were at, and we would describe it from our lens. We were both in the same place, but we just didn't know each other. So it was really fun having the conversation. He was very vulnerable, not only sharing emotions, sharing about his life journey, really interested and invested in learning about me. And so we were talking for so long. We ended up walking down the street to a nearby park. And while we were in the nearby park, I just remember sitting on this bench as he's talking to me. And I'm just like, I love this conversation. I really want more of this. And that's it. I really just wanted more of the conversation. I was like, this man seems like someone who's really invested in learning about me. He's done so many amazing things. I mean, not only had he been through difficulty in his life, but the man is killing it. I mean, he's killing it today. That's why I'm saying it in active tense. But even in college, he had an events business where he grossed thousands of dollars in college while also maintaining a 4.0. He graduated college early because of his excellence in the classroom. And then he also he was the president of club basketball, and while doing so, he even helped to train a young man to get on the men's basketball team. I mean, his resume was amazing. And then on top of that, he got internships when he was in law school at prestigious places, after people told him that he wouldn't be successful as a lawyer. And also just the background of him growing up in Baltimore as a Black man, the success that he had achieved, I'm like, this man is amazing. And that's what he was sharing with me, his journey. And so I really was just so amazed by what he had done alone And not alone, obviously, he had a village that poured into him. What I meant relationally, as in without a partner to be accountable for him, as well as just someone to love on him, and show and shine on him. Without having that, he did that. And I, in my own life, had done so many things that I was like, what happens if the two of us come together? And so I would be a fool if I didn't I don't want to say advantage, but to listen to what God was doing in this season of my life when he revealed to me a great man is that. And so I said, you know what? I can't lose this. I know there's so much narrative out there. There's so much social media that gives you this idea that we have options and that there's other people and, you don't want to settle and you don't want this. I know for sure there's no one in the world that can match this man. And if I were to walk away from that, like I said, I'd be a fool. Not only for his own self looking at him, but I knew that if he had that much in him to shine his light on other people, he could shine that on me. And I knew that I could also provide that back. There was a great exchange that happened just in that short first date that I could just foresee. Like my whole future was just like, whoo, I could see the whole thing. And I remember the next morning waking up, he went his way, I went my way. And I remember the next morning waking up and looking over at my phone, and the man sent me a list of therapists. He said, I remember that conversation we had, and he told me how you had just moved here and you were really interested in finding a Black therapist. So I wanted to share with you this list of therapists that might be helpful, and maybe you could find one of these. And I know for some people you say, oh, wow, that's cool. No. The man sent me a list of therapists, which means not only was he listening when we had the conversation, but he was invested in making sure that I got my healing that I needed, so that he wanted to be a support in that in the best way that he could right now, because he's still in the beginning stages of getting to know me. If that's his response right now, let me see how he is moving forward. And so we continued obviously to get to know each other. And I mentioned also that he prayed for us, because my second reasoning as to why I got married before my wedding day is also because we wanted to honor God. So our relationship fundamental is God first. That's like, there's some things that you value in your relationship, in your life, in the way that you move in the world. We value God. Our faith is a strong reason why we're even here today. And so we both fundamentally believe that as individuals, and we wanted to continue that in our relationship. And so from day one, literally, we prayed on our very first date. Within our very first 30 minutes of interacting with each other, we pulled God into this thing. And so as we continue in our relationships, we continue to bring God into everything. And so we started out our relationship actually abstaining from any sexual activity in pursuit of not being blinded by what we have been blinded by in the past. Both of us have been blinded by things in the past where we did not want that to have that same effect on us in this space. We wanted to be clear about who was in front of us. And so we were constantly having conversations in our own individual personal lives with God about this relationship. And so in order to honor God through its entirety, we continue to put God first. And that being said, I expressed in my last video how I left the news industry and I moved to New Jersey. I moved in with my husband. And out of respect and honoring of God and the covenant that we've established, in order for me to live with him, we respect and honor what we do. And so we got married legally to express to the world, we're in this thing together from here on out. He, me, we're one. And so we consistently are interested in having God as our number one, as our guidance through the entirety of our relationship. And so the wedding day is a beautiful thing, but God is bigger and better than all things. And so we trust and believe in him more than a wedding day. And so by trusting and believing in his power and his word, we know and understand that this marriage is bigger than some beautiful white dress, some thousands of flowers, and some guests that are going to be laughing and drinking and dancing on the dance floor. We want God to know that even if we never have any of that, we still thank him that he gave us this opportunity to spend life with each other and to pour our life into others for the rest of our lives. And so with all that being said, my last and final point as to why it was important for us to get married before the wedding day is I'm in a new identity. And I think this is something that is very important, that is often overlooked when in this day and age, as of what I've observed in social media and interactions with friends and peers, as well as even family. You go from being a single to being engaged to being married. Each of those stages are require new identity. They have a new identity attached to them. Even my title changes. I go from being a single woman to a fiance to a wife. And you cannot dilute the fact that each of those titles are all preparing you for a wife, right? When I'm single, I'm in pursuit of finding that man that is eventually going to be my husband. While I'm a single woman, I'm under the leadership of my family, my parents, they're the ones that dictate my life. I may be living on my own, but I'm still tied to my parents as my primary source of my title. So my last name being Robinson, that's my family name. I'm being associated with my family, right? My family, and not saying that I'm now not associated with my family, but that is a prime role as Monique Robinson. Those are the people that poured into me. I grew up. Now as a single woman, I'm with them. When I become a fiance, I am now in preparation for becoming a wife. And I can't ignore the fact that in that identity change, there's things about me that also needs to change. I can't think for just myself anymore. I have to start preparing my mind to think about him. I have to start preparing my heart to pray for him. I have to start thinking about how to navigate my finances, how to navigate my professional career. So not only that it benefits me, but it benefits the unity that we are now creating. And so once I become a wife, I'm not just all of a sudden thinking, with a click of a snap of a finger, that all of a sudden everything's just going to work out. That fiance period is a season of preparation. So that once I become a wife, I'm still going to be in transformation. I'm still going to be growing, but it's more of an opportunity for me that I've already gradually starting this process. I've started to gradually practice changing my thinking, changing my walk, changing my talk, changing the way I dress so that I honor him and God. And so as I needed to embrace my new identity, that also required me to have my name change. I'm bringing this up because it's very important that people know and understand that my new name, Monique Tawiah, is a name that is uniquely designed for me and the new identity that I'm walking in. And it's very important that I share the name and I proudly express the name because it also shows that I'm proud of my new identity that God uniquely made for me. I am grateful for Monique Robinson, and that young girl, single girl, still lives inside of me. But I am a wife now. I am a new woman, and God is doing a new thing, and I am walking in my newness with gratitude, with joy, and I am blessed to bless others by my union with my husband. And so I'm so grateful for the opportunity of it all, but I think that it's very important to expand upon all of these topics. So I think this dating era, being in your 20s, being in your 30s, is glorified more than the marriage side. And I want people to know and understand that if you do get that honor and privilege to walk in unity with a great man, that God did that for you to not only bless you, but bless the world. And it's so important that you walk in your new identity in wholeness and in truth. And that's why I'm also sharing it with you, because I wanted to express my truth to all of you, because I'm excited about it. I'm excited for what God is doing in my life. And to me, that is so much more than a wedding. Since I've been with my husband as a married couple, the level of respect and understanding that the world has for us has changed tremendously. And that might be a topic for another day, but I just want people to know and understand that this is an amazing thing. I'm so grateful to God for it. But so much onus is put onto the wedding day and not so much marriage. And that is something that we value so much, is our marriage. One other thing that I didn't mention that was also really important, as I said, God was number one through it all. We did do premarital counseling when we were in that fiance stage, right, for both of us. And when we were in that stage, that premarital counseling was one of those initial conversations that we had. It was a weekly thing we did for about a month or so, maybe a little bit over a month, that we did to have those deep dives, to start our thinking process, for us to reframe the way we move, we think, we act, so that it reflects marriage and not singleness. And I'm so grateful to God, as I've said over and over again, for all that He is doing in our lives. Now, I will be able to share with you all we are doing for our wedding day, but we know, and we've always expressed, that our marriage is not for us, it's for the world, and we want the world to know all about it, because God is doing a great thing in us. And because He's doing a great thing in us, we want you to be blessed by it. It's not just for us. We want you to be blessed by it, and we want you to be blessed by it too. So thank you again, guys, for tuning in with me. I hope this helps in answering some of your questions. It's been an amazing journey so far. People have said marriage is hard. It is, but marriage is also beautiful. And we expect to continue to learn and grow. And as we do, I want to share it with all of you. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day. Be sure, again, I remind you, please, if you like this content or if you want more of this content, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment your thoughts. I'm so grateful for all of you. Have a wonderful rest of the day.